Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay.
Good morning. Morning.
Morning.
Excellent. Everything sounds good. Mike's good. I'm on live and everything's connected. Good. Awesome. Hey, welcome, Athena.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. I texted Athena. She's so awesome because I texted her back. I texted her, "Hey, how'd you like to be on the podcast?" She's immediately like, "I would be honored to be on the podcast. Will Jamie Lee be there?" Which was awesome. So
I've not
I
once.
did say
I've
that.
missed two of them.
yeah, Jamie Lee
I
didn't.
did say that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you again.
Yeah.
And back.
Likewise.
Thank,
This is
thank
great.
you for coming back on.
The reason why I did that is I'm in the middle of a challenge. This is not about me, this podcast, but I tend to do that anyway. But I'm in the middle of this silly challenge, that push-up challenge for the month, push-up ends, and I added squats to it, and it's starting to get very hard. It gets progressively harder every
Is it
day.
one of those like one a day increasing one?
Yeah, except at times of the day times 10.
Wait, what?
Take the date times it times 10.
Oh, okay.
So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. What's the date today? Today's the 19th. I have to do 190 push-ups today and 190 squats.
Weren't you complaining about your shoulder hurting not too long ago?
Yeah. It's an Instagram challenge, so I have to do it or I will die.
What did you get? One of those messages like you have to finish this and share it to like 20 other people?
No, I did share it to Dean last month, and Dean made it to the 17th before he bailed. I made it to the 7th last month, and then the quarterfinals came, so I had to do the quarterfinal. I'm like, I can't do this in the quarterfinals. This month I had no excuse. I said, you know what, since I didn't do it. But anyway, this is about Athena, and it's not about me, and it's already started. So as I was doing this challenge, one of the things I found that was hard, once you start doing them, it makes it easy. Like once you do the first set of like 20 or whatever it is of each, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can do this. But I was just kind of had this thought of like, God, just getting started sometimes. It's like, I'm like, I can't believe I have just, like I take my dogs on a walk and I'm telling myself on the walk, I'm going to get at least 100 of each done. Some point in time I go by a park or something, I'll do something. And each time I get there, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Like I find it like, and then once I start, I go, and then I thought about Athena. I'm like, well, Athena is on this year-long journey. I'm only going 30 days. And I started thinking about Athena is on this year-long journey. And then she put it, and here's the other thing I didn't do until right now, which was really tell anybody about it. Actually, I put it in my email, my Diablo email that I do every week. I put it in my email on Sunday. I really didn't tell anybody, because if I told anybody, then if I failed, I was like, then I don't have to then people don't have to explain why I failed. But you put it out there and it's like a whole freaking year.
Yeah.
with the I know what I was going to go get, and with her damn chalkboard. And that was what I was going to bring on the podcast today. I was going to bring my eraser that we have out there, so I could just show you what an eraser looks like, so you could, just in case you weren't sure what an actual chalkboard eraser looks like.
You had a chalkboard eraser in the last one, right? I mean, it was bedazzled or something.
Yes.
I used it once. Yeah, I get a lot of pressure to use that eraser, but it just doesn't feel right using the eraser.
You just rather use those fingers.
I've just always been
There's something very CrossFit about just using your hands.
I don't know, on a chalkboard, whiteboard, because then you end up getting that stuff all over your fingers.
Well, then she might get like tear calluses, on the chalkboard. She can torn hands.
No, it's that chalkboard has been through I keep threatening to get a new one because it's the same chalkboard that I started using like from day one, like
really
10 years ago.
Oh, you can't get a new one then.
I have rubbed it so many, that's what people don't understand. Like, you don't understand. It's like, it's got sentimental value. Yeah. I've rubbed it so many times that it doesn't want to write anymore. So about every 3 or 4 days, I have to go in there with like a degreaser and like scrub it. And of course, everybody says, well, if you just stop using your hand, you won't have that problem anymore. I'm like, but it wouldn't be the same.
Oh, yeah. No. And now I expect it. I'm just waiting for the hand to come up. A couple things about that, using the hand for it. And just today. Like, so Athena come on, she hasn't been on our podcast and it's been a couple months.
Yeah.
And I noticed instantly as soon as she came on that I'm seeing a weight loss in her face.
Yeah, for sure.
Fairly dramatic. And that was if we put that
like the picture from the banner.
Yeah, the banner. We put that back up for a second. Because when I was looking to choose picture, I knew instantly what picture I was going to grab.
Yeah.
Because I saw that on her Instagram post. I was like, holy crap.
I think I think people forget that this has been going on for a while.
Yes.
Like, but even sometimes I forget, like, shit, that's where I started,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like the jacket post.
The jacket post. Do you have that? Can you put that up, please, Jamie? How that picture, first of all, the banner, I'll let Jamie get that, and I'm gonna and in the meantime I'm gonna show the banner back again, because I want to ask you what Jamie, I lost for some reason or other. I can't pull up the banner. Well, yeah. Oh, good. You got the post, so you can just show the post. But look at this one.
Yeah.
This is the coat, and that's her mom. And her mom, this is her former coat that she used to have, and then her mom gets into the coat with her.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And that's one of the things you lose perspective on. Like, you don't realize how far you've come.
Yeah.
And people that haven't seen you in a while, like when we haven't seen you in a while on our podcast, it's like, whoa, which I think helps for to keep you in the process. I ran into this old man on the beach on my vacation, and he goes, hey, I had a rucksack on. He goes, hey, how much is that rucksack? And I said, it's 30 pounds. He goes, oh, I've lost 40. And he was this old, he was an old construction worker. And he said, he retired. And he goes, I knew I had to lose weight. And I said, man, that's more than this rucksack. Like, if you put this rucksack on, you feel it. He goes, oh yeah, I know what that feels like. And I started thinking about that rucksack, being, God, I can't imagine carrying this around all the time. And it's the same thing with a code, which is really cool. But all the way back to your chalkboard, what's one of the things I've noticed on your chalkboard too, and I actually was going to do this, is make a clip of you on the chalkboard at the beginning of the year doing the chalkboard, your hand, and then your hand on the chalkboard.
That's another telling move.
Yeah, like I could I can see it in your wrist and hand, like it's a different person's hand going into the fucking screen. It's really cool. It's really a neat
I'm
thing.
turning red. That's cool that you would even notice that. I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it until probably the last couple weeks. I'm like, oh wow,
really?
Look. Like,
is that when you started sharing all like the picture or the like that? This was posted. The jacket was posted when?
Okay, so so what happened was, it was getting to the point like where I'm still wearing all the clothes that I was wearing like in January or February, and my mom was like, Athena, it's time to get rid of them. Like, they're not like, those are supposed to be slim fit tees. Okay. They're
time to go shopping.
Yeah. Their dresses. Well, and that's another challenge, is I don't want to go shopping because the shit is just so expensive. And when you're losing, you go through it really fast. And she's like, it's time. Well, when I lost weight the first time and I paused because I started putting on weight before surgery, that was a bummer. But all that stuff that I was wearing at the time went into all these garbage bags, and then they went into my closet. And she was like, I bet you that you're back there, because the weight is about right. Like, I'm still 15 off from where I was at my very lowest, but I was like, okay, let's pull the bags out. So that's what we spent all day on Saturday doing, was pulling these garbage bags out. And it was like an 8-hour fashion show, pulling everything out. And of course I'm crying, and I'm like, shit, it's not like I never thought I would get back into it and that I would be here again, but I'm like, here we are. And the coolest thing about it is that half the shit that went into those bags still had price tags on them. I bought them thinking I was going to wear them, and then they got put in storage. So it was such a cool thing over the weekend, getting to wear stuff that was brand new.
That's awesome.
It really is.
So during that little, 8-hour, fashion show, there's still some pieces that I kept when I was at my very heaviest, like on day one of this journey. And that coat was one of them. And the irony about that coat is that that's not really a winter coat for Minnesota. It's pretty light. Thank you. It's pretty light, but that was the only thing that I could find that fit. It's quite light though. It's not like what we would consider like an appropriate winter coat for Minnesota.
Not
That
enough.
was all they had.
Let's review the goals again.
Yeah.
For everyone so that they can understand what's going on, because the bar bend post, morning chalk up post is the road to 300, which is the total weight that you intend to lose. And you have already lost of that 300. I think you started you had lost 147.
Yeah, I had put some weight back on. So like when I was at my lightest years ago, I had gotten up to 245 for about a week, but then it settled like around 230-ish, somewhere in there. So right now we're at 218 total.
Wow.
So we still have another, so we still have another however many pounds that is to go. But I don't know if that's going to be the final landing point. I knew that that's where I needed to be in terms of like, you know, all I knew is that I wanted to get out of the obesity category. What that will actually end up, I'm not sure.
So you've lost 218. You have another 82 pounds to go.
Yep.
Essentially to make that 300-pound goal. If for anybody that's listening or is going to listen to this podcast, I think a really good perspective is to go out to the, the next time you're at the gym is load the barbell with 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Anybody, there's people that like can't even lift that and put that on your back.
Yep.
You like, don't try walking. There's some of the bros and, some girls in this gym can walk around with it. You can't even imagine that. It really, because I think about the guy on the beach with it, but when I was carrying the rucksack, I'm like, God, if I had to carry this 30 pounds all day, like I carry it for an hour long walk and I'm just miserable at the end. I'm like, oh, let me get this off of me.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you said, you got down to a point and then you had the knees done.
Yeah.
You said that was the lightest point. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was like after the surgery, it was like the rehab and everything else and kind of slipped back or.
Well, yeah, it was kind of a combination. It was all my fault. I could have watched it really close during recovery and I didn't. And I think a lot of the reason for that is I spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, because I was watching CrossFit from the sidelines. I was stuck in a damn chair, couldn't do anything. And I think the other reason that it got probably way harder than I had ever anticipated it being is I don't think I was wholly prepared for what that was going to mean. When they told me,
as far as like the knee stuff, or
when they told me I was going to have these knee replacements, the guy that was telling me, I could have done more research and I didn't, but he was like, okay, you're going to go through, physical therapy. You're going to have 12 weeks of physical therapy and then you're going to be back. And in my mind, when that happened, I was like, okay, 12 weeks, that's nothing. 12 weeks, I'm going to go through rehab. I'll be back in business. What I didn't know was that 12 weeks was just going to get me to a point where I could move around independent. We weren't talking CrossFit.
Not training necessarily.
No. And then when I came back to CrossFit, I didn't realize it was going to mean like learning how to do everything all over again. Like I had to learn how to step up to a plate again.
Yeah.
All of it. And so I think it crushed me mentally. And so I think, it's hard to say what I was thinking at the time, but I think I had developed fuck this for a while.
How much? Okay, so if you went into your lightest, how much weight did you gain back, and over how long did that take to gain it back?
At my heaviest, I want to say it was pretty close to. Well, it would have been like 85 pounds. It took a couple years 2 years, I guess.
But now you're going back down, and you've got new knees, so it's not like there's just another thing that's going to be like, as far as like a hurdle or roadblock to continue the momentum. You'll be able to continue your training all the way through.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Exciting. Yeah.
I mean, we never know what's going to pop up, but hopefully I've learned what I was probably supposed to learn from the first time around.
Let me ask you a question just relative to weight gain. This is, things that I think coaches want to know. I want to know for you as an individual. Do you think it's easier for you to add weight back on? Like 85 pounds over a year is a substantial amount of weight.
Oh yeah.
And is it, would you attribute that to the way your body's wired with respect to food intake? Meaning, is it easier for you to put on weight? We'll go all the way back to calories in, calories out, but is it? I suspect that it's really easy for you to gain weight. I mean, right? Meaning, if I had the same injury,
like physiologically,
if Athena and I ate the same things, Athena's going to gain weight much faster than I will.
Here's what I will say. It does not. I think that there's this common misconception that it requires tons of volume. And I've heard that.
Right.
You must have been sitting around just eating and eating and eating and eating all day long. And I think it would surprise people to know that it doesn't take as much as you think it would.
Yeah.
Like 1,500 calories would put me over for the day based on my numbers. 1,500 calories is a breakfast over at Perkins. You know what I mean? It doesn't require as much food as you think to start putting on weight again. But it always felt like, and I mean, this goes back to the time that I was super, super young. I always seemed like I could gain weight the fastest. Yes, it didn't take a whole lot ever.
Yeah. And I think that is a I may be wrong. People might have told me, but I think it is a genetic trait that, is either your gut microbiome is different or your DNA is different. But I think clearly it's apparent when you see it in everyday people that walk, even in the gym or you go anywhere, you go to a public outing event. There's definitely differences in people's ability to add fat content to their body. Definitely differences. Eat the same things. We know that from the glucose monitors. That's one of the cool things about the glucose monitors. Someone wears a glucose. I remember Rob Wolf, paleo diet and microbiologist, but he wore a glucose monitor with his wife, and he was reporting on it, like what he could eat versus what she could eat.
Mm-hmm.
He could eat a cup of rice, and his glucose monitor would spike. So his insulin level shoot up.
So versus his aspect to it.
Right. But his wife could eat a cup of rice, nothing, flatline.
Mm-hmm.
No response. And that is, that comes back. I think that comes back to the whole microbiome thing. I just watched this Netflix special on your gut, and I forget what, something relative to your gut. We can post what it is. I think if you Google Netflix in your gut, it'll come up. It's really fast because there's a lot of new studies going out on research into gut microbiome and the impact it has on chronic disease, but also especially
like weight gain and stuff.
Weight gain. It's really fascinating.
Interesting.
Very, very fascinating.
There's always one picture that I always think about when I'm asked that question. There's this picture of me and my two brothers. I want to say my oldest brother was 5. I was probably 4, and my youngest brother was 3. And we're sitting in this little, triangle. We're getting our picture done. We came from the same house. We ate the same food, same meals, same everything.
Yes.
Yet I was so different.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could look at these pictures all the way back to birth, and I'm like, there was something very clearly different from the time that I was born. Athena was just different.
Mm-hmm. I had a similar thing with my brother. My brother, he was always the teensy one, right? He was just skin and bones, and I could just look at something and just gain.
Same.
And I think that's what one of the things that's really important for coaches and general public, just in terms of perception, and it's something that I had to change my mindset around many years ago, when you're out in public and you see someone, they are not, well, in the, Athena's large body seminar, by the way, I can't recommend that enough, from changing perspective on how where the mental source of all of these issues are. A lot of these issues are, but you can't look at someone and just say, oh, well, they just eat more. Oh, they're just, they're fat because they can't stop eating. Just pull the siblings and we look at what mom had in the house. Yeah. And chances are there's something that's fundamentally different, and it's either one genealogical, right, or microbiome, or maybe environmental exposure to something. But then beyond that, then you couple that with past emotional trauma that is now tied to that dopamine response that comes from eating food, and now you've got a whole host of different issues that make it so much more difficult. Just adding those roots up. Right. Your journey is incredible, Athena, that one, you're able to overcome especially the mental trauma stuff. And if anybody doesn't know the story, just go to the YouTube video of Fat, Famished, and 450 Pounds. Unbelievable documentary. And really mind opening. But then go to the large body seminar too, and you'll learn quite a bit about it. But then to have to literally, okay, I get knee surgery, I'm going to be sitting around and I'm going to be worried about losing weight. Athena gets knee surgery, feels a little bit sorry for herself, like all of us, every CrossFitter does, because every CrossFitter comes in here injured. Any injury, I can't believe I haven't been able to work out. It just sends us down. It does. Oh man, it does. But then to have to, at the end of it, get up and go, oh, step on a scale and go, son of a bitch, I gained 85 pounds. Like, that's even worse.
I mean, it wasn't shocking.
I know, but to come back from that, like to have to come back from it again, is really remarkable. Like, you have experience and tenacity and stubbornness that is she's periodizing her life. Yeah, and I don't want to blow your skirt this entire podcast, but it really is remarkable. And that's what I want to get into, like your progress, managing expectations, and those kinds of things.
Yeah. It's been crazy ride already.
Are you on target for the time frame that you wanted to hit to get to this losing 300?
I mean, the best that I can tell, yes. I mean, it was a lofty goal. This phase 2 was 148 this year to get down to that mark. That's where we started. It'll be halfway in the middle of July. So halfway is about 70, what would that have been? Like, CrossFit math,
Yeah.
What's half of 148?
Yeah, 74. 74.
We're 65 right now. So I'd say based on those numbers, yes. But Carolyn had a really good point at my last check-in with her. And the less you have to lose, the slower it can get. Yeah. And so point probably later in the year, we may have to reevaluate what's going to be possible. Do we want to keep the Northern Star? Yes. I don't want to reset the goalpost. That's the goal. Whether or not that was realistic or possible, maybe not, maybe. But we're going to get as far as we can.
Yeah. You'll know more the closer you get too.
That's Carolyn Lambre, by the way, who is married to and coaching the fittest man on earth, which is really cool too.
That's cool. Yeah.
How's she been? Are you enjoying it? Because I don't know. I don't know much about her. I've only seen like Instagram posts of her, and that's about it. Are you enjoying the relationship and her as a coach?
She is amazing.
Yeah, not surprising.
So, I think one of the things that all three of them are so different, but I think one thing that I think that the thing that I appreciate about Carolyn the most is just how realistic she is. Like, she's the one that's constantly, trying to bring me back down to earth. Like, hey, Athena, you need a rest day. Hey, Athena, we might have to add more calories. And I'm like, what? But she's so patient. She's real. She's no nonsense. I just love everything about her.
It's awesome. That is good. And how often do you do calls with her?
So I send in like regular updates, like I'll send in my like once a week thing. Here's what's going on. I'll notate anything that seems out of the ordinary. And then I do my check-ins with her on the live every third week.
Who is she programming your nutrition and your CrossFit?
So Miranda is my movement coach now.
I just saw that.
Pete kind of had the reins.
Miranda,
Old Red.
Miranda Alcaraz.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm old school.
Yeah. Miranda's and I'm sorry I didn't know that. Miranda's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
how lucky you are. That's great.
So in terms of like nutrition, this is how it works. Carolyn doesn't program my nutrition. So we basically set up some parameters, and then I pretty much, the day-to-day stuff, the type of foods I buy, those are pretty much dictated by me. The parameters are really more monitored by Carolyn. So say, for instance, when I kind of went into my, I don't know what we want to call it. It was what's the word I'm looking for? A plateau. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The body was starting to plateau a little bit, and she had recommended, hey, it's probably time to do that BMR test again. And oh, by the way, we probably need to up the calories. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. And so Carolyn was the one that would recommend, well, I would recommend getting your caloric sources from here, 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 here. So that's the kind of stuff that she really works with me on. Okay. But like, she doesn't dictate like what I eat or anything like that.
She's not giving you like a specific macro.
No,
that's good.
No, it's basically like, here's the foundation. Here's where we want to stay if we want to stay in the deficit. So, choose accordingly.
And so let's talk about choosing accordingly. You're clearly a good cook. As I've seen some of the stuff you've posted it looks just awesome. Have you always been a good cook? And the choices that you're making with respect to what you're cooking, are those just your choice based on your knowledge and experience?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I had like during the time that I was stuck in that chair for 11 months, I had a lot of time to experiment with foods.
Yeah.
And experiment like what went well together, what herbs go good, what fruits go with meat.
Okay. Do you enjoy cooking?
I do now, but I started.
Interesting.
I did not like it at all. I always felt like, God, this takes forever and it takes too much time.
Yeah. And then once you get into it, then it's one of those things like once you start it, right? Probably it gets a little easier
success to find out like what works and what doesn't.
Well, yeah, I think we have to figure out what works for us, right? What's realistic for us? Do you want to? One of the things that I couldn't stand, for instance, about food prep was I'd see people prepping like the whole week. And I'm like, gross. Like, I don't want to get to Friday and have to eat something that's been sitting in the fridge since Sunday. I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out like,
I can do that.
I've been able to do that, but I can't always do that. I don't have
any problem doing that. I put a little more salt on it, by the end of the week.
Yeah.
How many days can you food prep for, or do you food prep? Do you just prep for the day?
I usually do like half the week at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
So like there's a Sunday prep and there's like a Wednesday, Thursday prep.
All right. That's a good note for anybody that's listening, right? So she's picking specific days, and this is a common theme. Well, I know my wife, Yvonne, who cooks for us, and then other people that in the gym that do food prep, they have specific times and days, days and times that they cook, and it's kind of on their schedule. They know those are the days and times that they're going to do that. Yep. I think that's a big one.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Do you use special containers? Do you have containers that you use that are the same?
Yeah.
Just the nitty gritty stuff. So they use the glass bowls or something like that.
That's the one of the things that
I
helps
like my
with
prep containers. And here's the thing though, is I don't prep everything. The only thing I prep are the meats.
Okay, this is good.
And so I'll cook up the meats, but I won't do anything with it. Like I'll cook up.
Oh, you just prepare it.
all I'll do is it's just cooked. So like say this week has salmon, so it'll just be the cooked salmon in the pan. Or this week I made like pork tenderloin. So I'll make out the pork tenderloin and cut it up. And then I don't do anything else.
Okay.
And what I do is like in the morning, because I want flexibility and I don't want to feel like I'm stuck. So what I'll do is I'll look at the meat that's prepped and I'm like, okay, what do I want to have today? Ground turkey sounds good. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I start building on the ground turkey? So I'll grab the pan and I'll just start throwing stuff in the pan, track it as I go, plug it in like, okay, I need some more fats. All right, let's see what I can find. And I build it that way.
Yeah. You plug it in, or are you plugging it into like MyFitnessPal or something?
I used to use MyFitnessPal, but a couple months ago I switched over to Macro Factor and I love it.
Okay.
It's super cool. And so yeah, I kind of build on the fly. And I think the reason why that works for me is I have figured out how to keep all my meals under 30 minutes. Because if it takes longer than 30 minutes, I'm not doing it. But also it keeps me from feeling like I'm stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. When you said like feeling trapped, like it's just like, that's the mindset that you want to avoid at all costs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to open up the fridge and be like, oh, pork tenderloin today. Got it. My little thing, throw it in the microwave. I didn't want that to be me.
Yeah. You want to enjoy your food. You don't want to feel like you have to choke it down.
Yeah. So we prepare it so it tastes fresh every time. That has been the magic for me anyway.
Do you do anything for desserts? Do you get cravings, post meal sweet cravings? Because I tend to get those, and I try to break the habit for as long as I can. But I've got this thing where after I eat, like I need something sweet after I eat. It's terrible. Like it's if there's cookies in the house, it's going to be cookies. But fortunately, my wife doesn't keep any of that stuff in the house, and so I gravitate towards berries and Greek yogurt. But that cuts.
Same. In the beginning, I used to have like cravings like anybody else. Like I love chocolate, love chocolate. I think it was Hiller that introduced me to frozen fruit. Like I hadn't thought about
why frozen.
I don't know. He just said
longer. Oh, okay.
I told him that I like strawberries, and he said, "Hey, have you ever tried frozen strawberries?" And I was like,
"Oh,
I hadn't thought about grapes or something like that." You
know what? What's interesting about that? I like that because you're not going to eat it as fast. Yeah.
Well, correct. And it tastes kind of like frozen strawberries taste like sorbet almost.
Yeah.
Okay. You like put it solid strawberry. Like you're not blending it up or anything. It's just
a solid strawberry. But grapes are just as good frozen, and they
grapes
just
are cool
taste
frozen.
Like popsicles almost.
Yeah. The kids
that's interesting.
Frozen grapes.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It's kind of a weird like consistency. Yeah. It's like once you get off the skin, it's like this little frozen thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's like a frozen little drop.
Yeah.
And they're really sweet. Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay. All right. Those are great tips. I love that. That's kind of stuff that I think a lot of people are overwhelmed by the thought process of food prep. As a matter of fact, I sat last night and talked to a member for about 20 minutes about it. And I told her, I go, do you have the glass bowls? She goes, oh yeah, I got the glass bowls. Of course, Greg, I got the glass bowls. I have all the glass bowls, and I'll throw them out if the plastic lids get bad. I'll throw them out and just get new glass. And okay. You take your bowls, and then you measure. And this was actually Greg Glassman said he did this with Greg Odmanson, who's one of the original fire breathers. And he said he goes at the bottom part's protein, the middle part, or the bottom part's the like rice or something like that, or yams or something like that, the carbohydrate on the bottom. Yeah. But a complex carb.
Yeah.
And then the middle part is your protein. And at the top you put your vegetables. And he goes, that's it, because there's your bowl, there's your food, there's your meal. And that it is a lot. That's what my wife does. And then there's like Kim, who's you've seen Kim here, and several other athletes here do the same thing. They got the bowls. And you start with that, and that's what I talked to her about. I go, look, and here's how you need to think about it. Just fill the bottom of the bowl with white rice or yams or broccoli or something else. And then, the next part's the protein. You put West 1/3 of your bowl, make sure you get some protein in there. And the next part's the leafy vegetables. She's like, oh my God, that's so easy. I said, because I'm going to do it. But it's learning those little tricks. But then I think like what you said, Athena, is that you have a specific time that you do it. I do like the fact, and I think Yvonne is like this too. She would just do the meats, the big proteins.
Yeah.
And then
each take the longest to cook and prepare.
and each day kind of tweak it.
Yeah.
So that you're not necessarily eating the same thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, I would say for the most part, it's just the meats, but like sweet potato, if I'm going to be having sweet potato one week, cause that's going to be quote unquote on the menu, I'll slice up the sweet potato and cook that. Cause that takes forever to cook in the pan. So stuff like that. But I think that's the only thing that I can think of. I don't. So
you're not like preparing the entire meal for the first few days. You're just putting a couple key components to what you're going to be eating, and then you just kind of make it up the rest of the week.
Well, I'll slice up and like prep staples. So like, what does that look like? Like, I'll take a bag of celery and slice it up, and then put it in a Ziploc that'll go in the fridge. And then I'll take, like a couple zucchinis, and I'll slice those up, put them in there. Carrots, same thing. And so I'll have these bags of like prepared fruit, like I've washed the fruit, the strawberries, the blackberries, blueberries. There's cut up vegetables. There's cauliflower. There's zucchini or squash or whatever I'm feeling that week. So all I have to do is grab the handfuls, throw it on the scale, throw it into the pan. So it's ready to go.
So it's definitely more of a food prep than it is a meal prep.
Right. It's more food prep.
I like that.
Yeah, that is a good way to say it. How often are you working out?
Ooh. So when I started, it was every day. Every day. And then
that was every day something hard, right?
Every day. It's still something hard every day. That hasn't changed.
Okay,
but
good.
Workouts themselves went from being 7 days a week to 6 days a week. There was one rest day that was on Sundays, but Carolyn had suggested a little while ago, Athena, you might need some additional rest time. Like your body needs more time. Yeah. So we threw in we went kind of to the 3-1 schedule, 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. And that's how it's been for a while. And that seems to be the best for me.
And tell us about a typical 2 or 3 day routine that you're doing. Are you doing full blown CrossFit? Are you doing walking plus CrossFit? Are you doing
more of like a street parking stuff?
Yeah, street parking style.
I mean, street parking style really is CrossFit.
Well, it is. I mean, and Miranda will be the first one to tell you that too.
Yeah, it is. So it's usually like a traditional WOD, whatever the WOD's going to look like. And then sometimes she'll add like additional stuff. So for instance, yesterday actually makes a really good example. So the workout option was, let me see. It started at 21. So it would be 21 dumbbell bench, and then 21 bent over row, and then 18, and then 15. And then you go all the way down to 3. That was the workout. So I sent that over to her and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this option. This sounds fun. And she came back and said, well, that sounds good, but we're also going to be adding this. So then she added a 15-minute EMOM on the assault bike. And then so it's 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 15 minutes.
Ooh.
And then another 5 minutes of just, and I'm like, man, that sounds fun. And so it all depends on the day. So sometimes it'll look like that. And then I have like my normal like LSD. That's something that Hiller started that I kept just because I got used to it and I liked it.
LSD is long, slow distance for
right. So most of the time for me, it's like walking. Like if it's raining or if it's bad weather, whatever, then I'll jump on the rower. But it's usually going to be one of the two. And then same thing as you. I don't know how this 100-day thing started now, but I wanted to do something for 100 days. Oh, I was inspired by somebody on my Instagram.
See? Yeah. Social media.
Yeah.
It is.
But it was.
There's a good thing to it.
Yeah. His name is Josh. And I was watching him every day. This mad dude was posting these videos on him doing these pull-ups every day. And I'm like, 100 pull-ups every day. Holy crap. But every day I'd watch him, and pretty soon it was like up to 60 days, and then it was like up to 80 days. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
I was like, I could be doing something every single day.
Yeah. And you
So
create some fake obligation in your head.
I know.
I'm with you 100%.
Oh man,
That's how it started. So now I'm doing 100 sit-ups every day. Everyone's like, why did you choose 100 sit-ups? Because I strongly dislike them. That's why.
this is making me want to start up the 100 burpees for 100 days. Oh, it's one burp. Well, no. To be clear,
we can't even say these.
To be clear,
because that plants like a seed in my head.
It's a building progression. So it's one burpee a day for 100 days, but you add a burpee every day, and then around like day 50, it starts getting real.
Oh yeah.
Because then the thing is, to finish it, if you miss a day, you have to double the whatever day you do. So if you miss day 50, you got to do 51. It's one penalty, but you have to do 102 burpees because it's day 51,
right?
And you missed day 50, so you're still catching up on the volume. It's terrible.
You know, I should have done it that way, but I jumped straight.
You went right to the 100.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you. To the 100, thinking, well, this isn't so bad, because in my mind I was like, well, I could break it up. I can do
that's right.
25 in the morning, 25 at lunch.
Yep.
And it's great, but by the end of the day, like
if you forget one of your intervals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but also like sometimes I am so sore at night.
I was just gonna ask,
Sometimes I'm so sore, I'm like, really roll into bed. I'm like, you know.
But I gotta.
How many days in are you right now?
But I gotta do my imaginary I'm gonna die sit-ups if I don't do my sit-ups.
It's amazing the shit that we do to ourselves. But yeah,
yes, it is.
Let's see. I want to say we're like on the maybe 12 days.
12 days. And it's 100 a day?
100.
Okay.
So for anybody that's watching this that is like not into fitness, or if you're show this to your spouse, if you super are in fitness but your spouse or partner isn't and they think you're crazy, this will validate that yes, you are indeed crazy. That people and anybody in this gym, I know if I went out
there's
here
an imaginary box of kittens in the back, they're gonna die if you don't miss a day.
If I went to 10 people out in my affiliate right now and walked out there and said, hey, I've got this challenge I'm thinking about doing. You want to do it with me?
100% of them would do it.
I would get 100% compliance. And they'd all make up these little things in their heads as to how they're going to get sick if they don't do it, how they're going to die, or how other things in their life won't work out. We make up all these imaginary things that are going to happen if we don't do it. You're a failure if you don't do it, Craig. Your business Diablo is going to go under if you don't finish those push-ups today. Like the whole thing. I do that. That's how we get stuff done. We are crazy. And you got to be a little bit crazy, I think, to do this stuff.
True.
Well, yes. So now what happened is I unintentionally started this, and I was like, okay, this sounds like a good idea, but I didn't realize how many people were going to join in. They're like, oh, we'll do it with you. We'll do it with you.
See?
Like, okay, this is cool because I don't have to do it by myself. This is
which is nice.
And then, it's 7-8 o'clock in the morning, and then I start getting all these messages. Hey, Athena, did you do your sit-ups today? I was like, I'm like, dang it. Okay.
Oh my God.
We'll see how long we can go.
Challenges,
is the goal.
The challenges are cool. It's just a great, like those kinds of things are necessary in today's world of readily available calories everywhere you go. And the ability to go sit on a couch, watch YouTube, watch Netflix, something like that. Like there's just tremendous amount of comfort all around us to not do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we have to force ourselves. We don't live in difficult environments or in rural environments or out in the wilderness where we have to do hard stuff all the time. And hard stuff is in our DNA. Mm-hmm. So we have to make stuff up. We have to create an artificial world, if you will, that obligates us to do hard stuff. And that's okay because it makes you, I believe, a better person, but it also helps make you fit and get the stuff done that you need to get done to be a healthier, happier human.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow. Do you have any this is one I have it written on the board in front of me. It says shortcuts. I was going to ask you if you have any, are there any tricks that you figured out in your weight loss journey that make it go much faster, or I know if I do this, the weight's going to come off faster?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, she's laughing.
No,
I'm laughing at you.
Well, I know, but you know, because
What do you mean faster?
If you go to the internet, there's all kinds of shortcuts.
Oh yeah, everything you see on the internet.
if there was a way to speed this up this way, I would have figured that out a long time ago.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know if I'm not necessarily interested in the speed aspect anymore. Maybe I was at one time, but I think that was something that I made peace with a long time ago. Like this was just going to have to be something that, you know, ran its course. Even coming out and telling people, hey, I want to lose 148 pounds this year. There's a lot of elements of that I don't control, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You could give it 100% and do everything right perfectly and still not hit that number.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to like just enjoy the process and just learning like what's going to be sustainable, like create the sustainable things that I'm going to be able to carry on after the year. And most everything I'm doing seems pretty sustainable to me.
That's cool.
That's why it's called a journey, right? I mean, it's like the end goal, the destination you're shooting towards. It's everything that you experience throughout the journey that gives you the benefits, right? It's not just that end number,
right?
That's awesome.
The process itself is challenging. You recently went through the kind of where you were struggling to lose weight and you actually gained weight, and then you found out that was, you know, some of that was muscle mass. How do you what advice do you have for others that end up in those plateaus? You know, I'll get those in the gym. People will say that, well, you know, I haven't lost any weight. You know, I was losing weight, then I stopped losing weight. I actually gained weight. How'd you get through that plateau mentally? Do you have any tricks for that?
It seems like, man, that's a tough question because it seems like I know that these things are going to happen. Like I've been through so many of them now that like I know that they're going to happen. We call it a plateau, but it's such a weird word because it's not like, here's the crazy thing is that it's not like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
There are cool things that are happening. They're just not visible in
I like that.
They're different. Yeah.
I like that. It's not like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
No, it's not like nothing's happening. And it doesn't seem to matter though, how many times I go through these. I struggle through them too, because even I forget, doesn't matter how long this whole weight loss thing has been going on, that I forget that there's other benchmarks besides that scale. And sometimes I have to get reminded, just like everybody else has to get reminded, you know, like going up there and discovering that, holy shit, all those clothes fit again.
Oh yeah.
Or I'm walking by the mirror, or I don't know, what was it the other day? Oh yeah. So I'm on a call with Carolyn in the check-in, and I saw my collarbone, see, through the video.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And it's
That's
stuff
awesome.
like that
Yeah.
those are the things that remind you like shit's happening. You just have to talk yourself through that whole scale element. And we talked about that on our last check-in too. There's times when I have to stay away from the scale for a couple of days on purpose, just so that I don't go there, because my brain always wants to go there.
Do you check the scale often, or, I mean, obviously, because in order to update the whiteboard or the chalkboard, it's kind of
for the most part, it's every day or every other day.
Okay.
There are times, depending on, I mean, like, you know, I'm a woman. If I'm going through my cycle, I'm not getting on the scale every day. It's pointless, you know, stuff like that. Or, you know, if I wake up in the morning and I can feel like my hands are tingling and I know that my body's retaining water, I'm not going to set myself up to get upset. I'll just wait till tomorrow.
Smart.
Yeah,
those are little tricks I've learned, you know?
Yeah. And the other, when you talk about the other things that you see that are happening, that are progress, do your coaches have you do benchmark workouts Do you have any benchmark workouts that you measure yourself against periodically?
Yes. Yeah. I wish I had done more of those benchmark types in the first quarter. I didn't, but definitely trying to do more of them now. And they're happening more often now, like just the bike. We just did this 2 weeks ago. There was more calories this time.
Yeah.
And so there's little things like that along the way.
Is there any like new movements or skills or anything that you've been playing with or practicing to, develop as you go through this progress or this journey?
Well, so something that came up a couple weeks ago, this was when I was still working with Pete.
That's Pete Shaw, by the way. Up in Canada, level 4 coach, great guy. One of the former partners at NCR.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah, he was awesome. We noticed that, like I wasn't coming close to like some bench numbers. I was doing deadlifts and I was struggling to get those. And he's like, here's something that we need to keep in mind too, Athena, is like even you can maintain strength and your in-body scans are showing that you're maintaining strength, but the simple truth is that mass moves mass. Mm-hmm. You may discover through this whole thing that your PRs are all going to have to be readjusted. And so you may not be able to lift. You may not be able to do what you did before because those numbers are going to change. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, oh shit, because that can happen too. And so, so we decided to put some of those like PR benchmarks on hold for a while because I may not be able to push those numbers anymore. I don't have, 70 pounds behind those numbers anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
You don't think about that it can go that way too.
Yep. Yeah. That's the mental part of it too that you got to deal with.
What about like increased range of motion and stuff like that? Oh, like easier to do you find it easier to move? Like I remember the box jump, trying to get over onto the box jump. Like, is that a skill that's kind of progressed and gotten any easier, or you feel that in your workouts in general, like just in general?
I can do way more of them than I ever used to.
Yeah.
So there's still some things that I'm still struggling with, like stringing the lunges together. Okay. That doesn't have necessarily anything to do with the weight as much as it has to do with just the amount of strength that you have to build up once your muscles have been cut through,
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. From the knee surgeries. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still working on that. And there's other things like, snatches are becoming easier. The body just feels like it's starting to get more stable.
Yeah. It's great.
So, when you're heavier, this is something that we talk about in the seminar, balance can be a real issue.
Oh, yeah.
So my balance is definitely getting a little bit more controlled.
Yeah.
Good.
So you may not see like as much of a progression as far as the barbell loading, but when you think of it from like these balance perspective or these other like neurological skills, like just body awareness, it gets a little bit easier.
Totally.
Or you're seeing progress in that more so than you would actually see the numbers go and increase from a strength perspective.
For me, that's where I'm seeing most of it. I'm not seeing it on the PR side. I'm seeing it more in like I was never able to do like the hop in the clean or a snatch, whereas now I can.
Yeah. So developing that'll see some numbers go up because your skill will get better.
Yes, now it will.
But you just got to follow the process, right?
That's it.
Perfect.
You mentioned this Scaled Nation seminar, the large body athlete coaching seminar. You did that here, a year ago, which was an awesome event. Many of our coaches attended. We had outside coaches as well. It was everybody said it was kind of mind blowing in terms of the experience of it. But
we talked about the day a lot, by the way, Craig.
That's
what's
awesome.
that?
She talks about the day a lot. She said
we really do. Like when we think about like what seminar was most memorable, that day out at Diablo was memorable. It really was, and I think it was
a couple cool things that happened that were.
It was just it was cool, and I think the difference was from Diablo, even from the difference that we just had it proven. in April is that I want to say that entire room was coaches in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it was a little bit different when we were at Proven. We had about half coaches, half LBA. And it changes the dynamics a little bit when it's not just coaches, because when there's more LBA in the room, for instance, it's discussions that they already know,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get as much dialogue. We learned something coming out of Proven, but yeah, it was a memorable day.
Yeah, I would think coaches too would be more cautious about what they're thinking or want to say or ask if there's large body athletes in the room, like they feel like they might offend.
Yeah.
Well,
you set the precedence ahead of time too.
She does.
Yeah.
When's your next one?
Baton Rouge,
Louisiana, August 24th.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're at a CrossFit gym down there?
CrossFit Go.
CrossFit what?
I think it's called Go. GEAUX.
Oh yeah. CrossFit Go as in go. Yeah. All right. That's awesome. Okay. And that's on August. Even if you have to travel a few hours, it's a mind-opening experience. And just to give you everyone a little bit of taste, if anybody's listening to this and watching it, this is one of the things that I just didn't think about. Like it's one of the many things that I didn't think about it from a perspective of working with large body athletes, which is we're going to see more and more and more as, and not necessarily that there's more obese people, but is that people are understanding that this type of fitness, particularly CrossFit, is helpful for reversing their condition.
Yep.
And so they'll come into the gym. But just in terms of walking into the gym, I remember Athena saying when people you walk into a CrossFit gym, and usually it's wide open spaces. And you might think that, as a coach, and I would think, hey, come in to be awesome, right? There's lots of room to move around. You see people that are smiling and are nice. But a large body athlete that's going to come in, large body person that's going to come is going to walk around and goes, oh shit, there's no place to sit down. There's not very few things to hold on to in case I stumble and fall and have to get up. And I had never thought that so when they're walking into a big wide open space, they're actually more nervous than they are if they walk in and there's vertical uprights or there's chairs or things to send that. This is like one small thing in all of the different things that we learned that day.
Excuse me, you were at one of them. Something that we decided to do after we delivered at Proven was, I think we got to that point where we're like, we need more time on the floor. So now what we're doing, so I think both of you guys have been to it, so I think that you'll appreciate this, but we decided to jiggle around some of the things in the front end of the day. Like we could use our workbook for more things. There's some things that it's like, yeah, it's important, but this is something that they can have and read about in their workbook. We need more time on the floor.
Yeah.
Like when somebody comes out of that seminar, I don't want there to be any misconception about what are the takeaways for these coaches. And I'm like, if they don't have scaled forward down, then I'm not doing my job. So it's like we need more time to work with coaches on what we mean when we say we want to build this out. You should be able to leave here and apply this to any movement that we do in CrossFit just as easily. So anyway, we're having to clear some time throughout that entire day so that we can make time for another hour on the back end. What we're working on right now.
The scale forward concept is the one thing that I think is most crucial. I walked away just kind of going,
I mean, even just outside of the LBA, but just in general, it's just it's a progression, right? You got to know and understand where the basic starting point is and how accessible it needs to be.
Yeah, how very, very basic the starting point should be,
but how accessible it needs to be.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
right.
You need to be able to start with that and then move forward from it.
And the progressions, the small progressions of scaling forward from say using an incline bench with a up against or facing an incline bench at a very, very slight incline, almost vertical, with a TheraBand or a band, one of those bands that we use, tied to a pole for doing sit-ups. So they're sitting and the furthest back
assisted band, not a TheraBand.
So they lean back against the back of the bench. That's as far as they're allowed to go back. And then they use the band to help them get vertical. That's the most scaled version. And then from there, if it's too easy, no big deal.
Just notch that back.
Just notch that back a little bit, or make the band a smaller band.
Right? And that's something that that was a challenge, when we were first going through this the first time. And it's crazy to me how many coaches were like, well, that's going to be too simple. And I'm like, why are we looking at it like that though? Why aren't we looking at it as that person just got to celebrate a win that day? It's not, that's not how they're going to see it. They're going to be like, hey, I just climbed 2 levels today.
Yeah.
Look what I got to do in one day. And I'm like, there's no such thing as having to be afraid that something's going to be too easy.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. Like the fact that a coach is like, oh, that's too easy. It's like, well, then you're missing the whole point of the seminar, right? It's like, I mean, like from my perspective, it's like you should understand that like we need to be looking outside of what our comforts are or what we understand to be uncomfortable, because it's not about us. It's, it's about somebody else that needs to have that victory so they can continue to come back the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
RX is that bench almost vertical with a blue band to get tied against that pole.
I mean, RX should be in this situation
RX
should be come through the door.
Well, yeah,
right. I mean, like that should be the main RX. Yeah. Like you prescribe today's workout by coming to the workout.
Yeah.
And if you got a PR, even better.
Yeah, every day is a PR because there's one more day on it. And that's the other thing I took away from. So the scaling forward, and the other thing I took away from it is, and this it's a mantra now that sits in my head, make them want to come back tomorrow. Make them want to come back tomorrow. And how do you do that? Well, you make it safe, you make it fun, and you make it, to where they accomplish something.
Attainable.
Yeah. Yeah. You come back out to California in the near future?
Gosh, I want to.
I'd gladly host another seminar if you decide to bring one back. I'd most likely throw it up. So
we should probably add another one out there.
I want to say that because there's a number of things that we learned at Diablo, because Athena was relentless on her attacks of our gym and how we did things, and I took notes. I took notes, Athena. And one of them was she in front of the she didn't tell these things to me and send me a recap email.
She put you on blast.
No, she aired these things out in front of the whole group. And one of them was the best. This one was a really good one. She goes, "Hey, I was up in that pro shop in front of the whole group, and I really wanted to buy a Diablo shirt, but there were no double XL shirts. And let me tell you why you want double XL. And it's not 2XL. It's XXL, right? Where you get the extended length, because they don't want shirt coming up. And so I just wanted to let you know that at Diablo now we've got.
You do?
Yes.
You do. Oh, Craig, I'm so proud of you, man.
Well, and the other thing is we sell them often. Because there's just something.
I was just going to ask you, how often do you sell those?
We sell 1 or 2 of these a week. Of these two 2XL shirts.
And who are you selling them to? Your members?
Well, we sell them to our members. No, to our members mostly. And they want the longer shirts for all the reasons you said. For all the reasons you said, people, that as you're a larger body athletes don't want super tight fitting shirts. The larger body athletes need longer shirts.
I mean, I understood that, but I didn't understand the difference between.
And neither did I.
Double XL to
double
XXL.
Yeah, to double X. Yeah. 2XL versus XXL.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that I can go to your website now?
Well,
and order My
These
shirt.
are in store, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to send this one. These are in our store up front. I've got to get it on the online store.
So cool, though.
Yeah. Yes, but that was a change. It was directly as a
Right.
result.
What would you tell somebody? This is an interesting question for you. What would you tell somebody, a gym owner that's afraid to stock a larger size?
I would tell them,
What are you afraid of?
yeah, well, yeah, what are you afraid of? But they are unconsciously denying access to a segment of your member base that wants these. And you don't know that they want them because they're not going to ask for them, because they are not going to come up and say, hey, would you carry a XXL shirt or a triple XL shirt? They want to, like, and they, when we sell one, I always ask Yvonne, I go, who bought that? Like, because it's done quietly. We have that tab sheet up there where you can write T-shirt and just walk away from, and that's the way it needs to be, because you're undeniably excluding members of your community, and you just think, oh, they just don't like my designs. No, they don't like the size. Fortunately, too, here's the other thing that kind of is removing a little bit of the stigma is big shirts. Big shirts are in right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I smell a free shirt too. Well, I know that there's, some of the feedback was some of that. Oh, well, we have another shirt thing to talk about, and I haven't forgotten. But I think that there was pushback from a lot of coaches that were like, well, I don't want to stock those sizes on the floor because they never sell. Do you think that's true, Craig?
No.
You're saying that that's not true.
Yes, I'm seeing that that's not true. I thought that was going to be the case. It's not. Those are the ones because what's cool is we got a heat press, and if you're not doing that as an affiliate owner, have a heat press machine. We're a big gym. I've got a lot of members, but I have a heat press machine at home, and like Jamie's shirt is a heat press shirt that he's got on right there. It's the easy to make the designs. You have them sent to you. It's cheap. You buy the shirts and you stock them. Just keep a small supply of them, and you can buy them one. You can buy them one at a time if you want, and you make them yourself. My daughter makes them, so my daughter's making them all at home, and she loves it. She just stamps them.
That's so cool.
Yeah, easy to do, and it will make your members happy. You won't know. They probably won't tell you who it is, and but they will. They'll be happy.
I was just thinking too. One of the benefits of that would be, it's not just your members that are going to buy the shirt. They're going to want to buy those shirts for like their family members.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, join us. I can get you a shirt. You'd be surprised how far it goes.
Yeah,
100%.
Kind of sets them up for not sets them up, but it's another way to make them feel like they belong.
Yeah,
right. Like,
well,
we do want you here.
Yeah, it's another hook in them.
Yeah,
it's another hook to keep them coming back.
Seriously.
Swag. Everybody loves swag.
People like wearing Diablo logo shirts when they go to the gym. They come into the gym and they got Diablo logo shirts on. They go in their clothes. They go, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to wear my Diablo logo shirt. It's really it's really interesting thing as a business owner to see that. When you see people wearing your shirt, it's a great sense of pride.
I was just going to say, it's pride.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, listen, we kept you. I kept you more than I promised to keep you, but we know when the next seminar is. We got a lot of great information. We're with you all the way on your journey.
Thank you.
We are that silent, like in the background people in your head that are obligating you to having to continue this even on your darkest days. We're there watching, knowing that you're going to finish it and you're going to inspire us. So carry that burden of guilt with you as you go the rest of the way.
I got a burden of guilt for you.
Oh no.
Are you ready?
Yes.
That shirt is still sitting out in my living room.
Oh, I want that shirt. Yeah, let's trade shirts. So I'll send you.
You're gonna put it up on the wall.
Yes. It's funny because I had that as one in my notes as one of the things I want to talk about. So thank you. Let's trade shirts. That would be awesome.
This is going to be awesome.
My members would be stoked to see your shirt up on the wall. It really cracked me up when you posted that I was like, she's got a freaking shirt, a game shirt with her name on it. So I would love to have it, and it'll be displayed proudly, and it'll be a real reminder to us of what we got and learn from your large body event that you had at our gym.
It was such a great day. I'll never forget it, Craig. And obviously I can't wait to come back. But yes, I'd love to put another one in California. And by all means, let's do it right back at Diablo.
Okay. That'd be awesome. We'll fill it up.
Love that.
All right. Cool.
I'd be excited.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for everyone that joined us live. Thank you for joining us live. And for those that are watching it, leave comments and all that good stuff that you're supposed to do when you watch YouTube videos. We don't know what they are, but just don't make one criticizing it. All right. See you guys.
Yeah, be nice. Be nice.
Yeah. Be nice.
Be nice.
All right. Cheers. Thanks. Thanks, Athena.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right.
It's good catching up.
Always.